Hello, my name's Lorraine Hearn and I'm going to show you how to do a rustic decorative garland like this. This is using eco-friendly t-shirt yarn by Hooked, and to do a rustic garland you will need approximately 2 cones of this yarn here, and I'm going to show you how to make this. You will need 1 pair of size 8mm needles, or you can use 7mm needles. And this is how you do it. The very first thing you need to do is cast on 3 stitches. So you form a loop and drop the yarn down, and then with one of your needles scoop up through the loop and draw up to form your first stitch. And then using your right needle, working from front to back, insert your right needle into the stitch in an anti-clockwise direction, wrap the yarn around your needle, draw through like so, and then hook on to your left needle. And then with the 3rd stitch, insert your right needle between the 1st and the 2nd stitch, like so. Wrap the yarn around your needle, right needle, in an anti-clockwise direction. Draw through and hook onto your left needle. You now have 3 stitches on your needle. Now, to form the loopy stitch, this is worked over 2 rows. The very first row, you need to increase in every single stitch to form 6 stitches, and this is how you do it. So row 1, you insert your right needle into the first stitch, wrap the yarn in an anti-clockwise direction around your right needle, draw through, and then insert your right needle into the back of the first stitch. Wrap the yarn around your needle, draw through, and then lift off. This will form 2 stitches with 1 stitch. And then you repeat this process with the 2nd and the 3rd stitch as follows. So again, insert your right needle into your 2nd stitch, wrap the yarn around your right needle in an anti-clockwise direction, draw through, and then insert your right needle into the back of your 2nd stitch, wrap the yarn around the needle again in an anti-clockwise direction and lift off. And then the same with the 3rd stitch. You will now have 6 stitches on your needle. That forms row 1. Now the 2nd row is the loopy stitch row. So to start off with, to form your loopy stitch, you're working with paired stitches, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So to do your loopy stitch, you knit the very first of the paired stitches. So wrap the yarn around your right needle, draw through, lift off. And then with the 2nd stitch, you insert your right needle into the back of your 2nd stitch, and then you take your 1st finger and your 2nd finger on your left hand, and working in an anti-clockwise direction, you wrap the yarn around the back of your 1st and 2nd finger, and then over the draw through the right needle, and then you do this 3 times. So this is the first time you've done it, and then you do another, and then you lift off and draw through your right needle. Now, what you do here is keep your 2nd finger in the loop, and then take out your 1st finger like so. And then you draw the loops through, keeping your 2nd finger in the loop. And then you knit all those loops together like so, and then you take your 1st stitch, and with your left needle you hook that 1st stitch over the 2nd stitch, and then you transfer this stitch onto your left needle, cross your right needle to the back, and then you knit that stitch. Once you've done that, you can then remove your finger from the loop and you've got your loop. So let's do the next pair. Knit the first stitch. Then insert your right needle into the back of the second stitch, and with your first and second finger, wrap the yarn around your first and second finger and your right needle 3 times. 1, 2, and then 3, you're drawing the yarn down like so. Then remove your first finger, but keep your second finger holding the loops. Draw the loops through the stitch like so, and then with your left needle, insert your left needle into the loops, crossing your right needle at the back, and then knit all of those loops together like so. And then you take your first stitch you knitted and you hook that over your second stitch, and then you knit that stitch again. Then with your finger, withdraw it from the loops. There you go, that's another loop there. And the last set, you knit the first stitch, then insert your right needle into the back, wrap the yarn around your fingers and your needle 3 times like so. Remove your first finger from the loops but still holding your second finger in the loops. Knit those loops and then insert your left needle into the loops like so. Knit those loops together. Then take your first stitch you knitted, hook that over, and then knit the stitch again. Then remove your fingers from the loops, and as you can see, you have a set of loops there. Now you repeat row 1 and row 2, which is the loopy row, consistently all the way through, and then that way you will produce this. And that's it. So again, with your first row, you're increasing in every single stitch like so, knitting into the front and then the back, front and then the back, to have your 6 stitches but 3 paired stitches, and loopy row, knit the first stitch, then you do your loopy stitch. Remove your finger, knit those loops together, hook over and then knit, and then work on your next pair, and so on. And that's it. Hope you enjoy knitting your rustic garment.